Technology is transforming the way we live and work, and the multi-dwelling unit, aka MDU, industry is no exception. With innovative solutions for video surveillance, power management, water detection, EV charging, and managed Wi-Fi, MDUs are becoming smarter, safer, and more efficient places to live. Video surveillance is a key component of MDU security. Advanced security cameras and monitoring systems enable property managers to ensure the safety of residents and deter potential intruders. By providing round-the-clock surveillance, MDUs can create a secure environment for their residents. With the growing popularity of electric vehicles, MDUs are installing EV chargers to meet the needs of their residents. These chargers provide a convenient and environmentally friendly way for residents to charge their cars while reducing the carbon footprint of the building. By adding digital signage, they're able to keep residents up to date on events and earn revenue with advertising. Power management is another important consideration for MDUs. With smart meters and energy-efficient appliances, MDUs can reduce the energy consumption and save on utility bills. These systems also benefit the environment by reducing the building's carbon footprint. Water damage is a common problem in MDUs, but advanced water detection systems can help prevent costly damage by detecting leaks and sending alerts to residents and the property managers. These systems enable quick action to prevent water damage and minimize repair costs. Managed Wi-Fi is essential for modern MDUs. With reliable, high-speed internet, residents can work, study, and stream without interruption. Property managers can also manage and monitor Wi-Fi usage, ensuring that all residents have fair and secure access to the internet. This can also be used for other IoT devices and cameras on the property. As technology continues to evolve, MDUs are becoming smarter, more efficient, and more comfortable places to live. With advanced security, power management, water detection, EV charging, and managed Wi-Fi solutions, MDUs providing a better quality of life for their residents. These are just some of the technologies that are making a difference. Thanks everybody for joining. We're just 2 minutes after. We'll get going here in a moment. It is being recorded, so I will send this out if you have to drop or everybody's busy. Partners have asked for, hey, we want more information. We want stories when we know about different verticals. So we do education series from a quick 1 hour, very impactful 5 supplier hit, all the way to a 2.5 day deep dive education, as you guys know. So we try to meet everybody where you are. And today we're going to kick off here with the quick agenda. Again, thanks for joining us. This will be recorded and sent out as mentioned. And we're going to have Spectrum, Radio Wireless, Fortify, Modas, and Datavalet. So again, this is almost a speed dating. I've asked each of them to, kind of keep it that 10-minute mark. Hopefully have some room at the end for questions. If you want to ask a question in the chat as we go, I'll as the MC, I'll make sure we address that question. And and that's that. So we're going to stick it to solutions for the MDU industry, and we're going to hear more about that from Chris and Merrill. So Chris, thanks for joining us. I guess you're out in Las Vegas, right?
I am.
Yeah, and making things happen. So I got your bio up. Obviously, you've been in this space for a really long time. You've worked with various different cable companies, and you were referred to me by my brother-in-law, and this actually in this space as well. I said, Tim, I need someone that can help me understand the state of the industry and help explain. We have partners. Some of these partners are already currently working with MDUs, multi-dwelling units, or maybe they see this as an opportunity. So having said that, I'll kick it over to you. What's the state of the industry? What are you seeing? Where are the opportunities? And what kind of technology is important to MDU property owners?
Well, I think, and I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a tickle. This is what you get when you travel. You get these little things going on. Yeah. But I can't express, and I'm sure that's how everybody feels that's on the call today, how exciting the MDU world is and how exciting the technology world is. We represent a number of communities. They're communities from, communities.
Are you talking to me?
I'm sorry. Let me mute all here.
Sorry. Sorry. But we've got communities that
Oh, I'm sorry. Chris, you need to unmute yourself. I hit mute all.
Yep, no problem.
Here we go.
So we've got communities that are as large as 7,000 units under one contract, which is really an MDU, one community, all the way down to 125 units in a high rise and smaller. So we represent about 43 to 4,500 of those communities, and never before have I ever seen a interest in bulk contracts for high-speed data. And of course, in our rental communities that we represent, which are about 56 or 57 of those REITs, I've never seen the interest I've seen before in providing technology services such as security. I know that water observation, making sure nothing happens there, is a proactive thing. There's just a lot of stuff that we're telling our clients and that our service providers are telling our clients that are getting them excited. We talked about the smart homes years ago, and it was kind of difficult to do that, but the Internet of Things is coming. It's on us. More and more people are getting educated. There are some great service providers out there providing great products and services, and we're just excited for all the providers, and we're excited for all the people that provide the hardware. I mean, it's the most exciting time in the industry.
You know what? I did one of these episodes on the hospitality industry, and I had a similar
so
subject matter
Ken
expert
DeLabra
for
is
you.
asking about a addendum.
We go. You want to go mute, Joe? I thought I had everybody muted. You must.
I'll get off again.
There we go. Yeah, John, your turn's coming, buddy. I know I'm just messing with you, but anyway, so I was talking to this expert in the hospitality business, and he was telling me that there's like a 4-year upgrade cycle for hotel and motels. Is there any such thing in the MDU space of where property owners, maybe they're trying to sell their property, they're trying to become more attractive of a property, or they're just trying to do refreshes? Or is it let's try to keep the expenses down as low as possible and keep the profit margins up? I mean, what's the mentality?
Well, that's the thing. So as a consultant, which are, I hate to say we're the middle guys, but coming from your industry, coming from the cable industry, and also owning my own Protection One dealership back in the day and being a service provider for these types of communities, it gives us a unique perspective in my company, which is we get to see that people that are building new higher end rental communities and or condominium complexes are very interested in talking to us and our service providers and the product providers about the Internet of Things and about bringing these types of services to them so that they can differentiate themselves in the marketplace. The existing condos and HOAs that are out there, of which there are 300 to 400,000 of them out there, which sort of get left behind in this, oh, let's go get an apartment complex, an apartment complex, an apartment complex. They're interested too. They're interested in raising the value of their communities, and they're interested in providing security, keeping their water damage down, all the things that you guys provide. They're interested. So our job is to try to find service providers and product providers and connect them with those people. And of course, that requires really good broadband and upgrades in those existing communities. And that's what we're looking for over the term. But I think it depends, of course, on their budgets. Right now, one of the things that's happening across the United States, and certainly in the Southeast, is insurance rates are going really, really high. And people are looking at ways in which to save money. That's where bulk broadband services come in and discount prices, which is kind of tough to explain to people, but HOAs and COAs are really important in trying to save their residents money. And if it's explained right, bulk services looks like a much better product to them. Same thing in apartment communities. We've got a lot of apartment owners that are very interested in not only the technology, but also a way in which they can make some additional ancillary income if there's a way to do it.
God, that's interesting. What's your opinion? I mean, how many big players are there really in the MDU space when it comes to large companies that own large portfolios? Or do you still see a lot of, is there such a thing as a mom and pop MDU operation?
Well, listen, like never before, those larger MSOs and ILECs that are out there in the marketplace, our traditional phone company and cable companies, have not been able to react as fast as they should have. There are a few of them that have understood what is going on. And I'd like to put it to this perspective. I just had this conversation with a very large provider at a summit we were at last week. All of us on this phone call every single time our car comes up for renewal on our lease, or we're getting ready to get a new car, we don't always buy the same car over and over and over. We actually get a choice. We get to go look, drive it, see what the reviews are, see what our wife likes, see what we like, and then make a new decision about a new service provider, if you will. The cable companies and the telephone companies have to wake up to the fact that that is what's going on. And now, like never before, with the low cost of fiber, smaller providers can come in and provide concierge service, really pay attention to them. There are some large providers, in fact, one of them's on this call today, who have decided that they're going to be competitive and work with companies like ourselves and many of you guys actually. And they do what it takes. They know the value of their customer, and they're trying to fight for it just like everybody else. But more importantly, they do understand that there is competition. I'll just give you a microcosm perspective. In South Florida alone, we're estimating that the major service provider in South Florida has probably lost 200 to 300,000 residential subscribers in bulk contracts over the last 3 years. They have no offensive team at this point, and they're only playing reactive. There's some great markets in the country for that particular service provider that understands competition and works real hard at it, and understands that people have a choice. The FCC wants them to have a choice. But like never before, if you're a mom and pop operation, or you know someone that is, if they're smart and they scale their business in one place and use the scale of economy so that they can provide really good service after the sale. Service after the sale is so critical. One bad community can really spark the reputation in an area and let everybody know that they can't take care of them. So it's really important to be able to absorb the sales that you make, hang in there with the customer as they get changed over to whatever service you're providing, and make sure that you get a good referral from that client. That's how to build this business today. And I'm telling you, like never before, it's up for grabs.
Man. So last question, and we're going to roll into James at Spectrum, but what advice do you have for partners, technology advisors on this call, in terms, I guess it's kind of a two-part question. You have your large portfolios, thousands of units, and maybe then more of the smaller regional ones, but how and who do they start the conversation with in terms of advanced solutions beyond just the status quo? Is there anybody particular they should target?
Are you talking about the REIT owners?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
they generally have CTOs, CIOs, or they have
Yep.
standards like the hospitality, where Marriott says, here's the three providers we use. This is all we use.
It is so diverse nowadays. A lot of them are starting to have, it's really funny. You'll get one REIT that looks at everything from a financial perspective. The CFO is usually the strong leader in the group, and they're looking at how do they get the best return on their investment? How do they keep their costs down low? How do they keep your occupancy high? Those three things are the things that those CFOs focus more on. And they're usually the ones you want to go and hit first if you think you can make a cost difference for them, or make them some extra money, or bring them services that's going to get a better return for their investor. That's what they're focused on. Then you have the visionary, and the visionary is usually the owner of the company or the vice president of development. Those two people will understand the vision of someone that's adding in a new product or a new service that is the Internet of Things, or water leak detection, which is something a CFO might not grasp right at first, but the visionary person can do that because of the costs. It really is, it's difficult to pinpoint who you want to hit. If you're working a particular market, you want to see if you can work that market's leader and build their trust instead of going corporate down. Especially if you're going corporate down, understand that when you go to talk to someone that's got communities in different cities, and you talk to them, but you're only operating in one city or two or three of those cities, they're just going to really refer you back down unless you have a relationship. So it's better to work the trust up that way. I think that's what most of us do in the industry. But I also believe that the more information you give both, the better. If you can try to CC somebody on that, that's the best approach to do it. And I always say in person or on a Zoom call is the best way to approach these people. They're smart. They're getting it, guys. They're hearing the story. They're hearing it from their friends. They're hearing it from other real estate investment trust people. It's never been a hotter topic to talk about in the business.
Oh, fantastic. I thought it was the last question. Define REIT.
Real estate investment trust. Sorry, real estate investment trust can be. And I want if you're if you're not as, I understand, I've been in this business for 40 years. Right out of college, I was selling cable door to door, and I just love this industry. So, but today more than ever, it's not just real estate investment trust clients, but there are small REITs out there, real estate investment owners in small towns made up of law practices that take their money and invest in apartment communities. So get involved in your National Apartment Association local place. Also, don't forget CAI, which is Community Associations Institute. Those are big places to find condo and HOA owners. Those are the best ways to approach the local providers. I mean, the local opportunities.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris. I think we could probably keep going. Maybe I should have you on my podcast, The Wireless Way, to keep talking about this. I think there's a lot more to talk about, but in the interest of time, everybody give Chris a hand, and we're going to kick it over to James. Take it away, man.
I appreciate that, Chris. Go ahead and share my screen here. And, it's nice to follow up on Chris's sentiments there, because a lot of what he is speaking to is in our wheelhouse and is what we do from a provider perspective today. So let me click share here. Just want to make sure everybody can see my window. Okay.
Yep, we got you.
Awesome. So quick background, right? James DeStefano, director on the Spectrum Community Solutions team. I run our channel partner program. So we built and launched the program in the latter part of 2021, with the goal being to extend our reach and to work through the Telaruses of the world. We work as a company with Chris and his group and other industry consultants, as well as value-added resellers, with the goal being to connect the dots back to the owners of these MDU properties in our national footprint. So, today, we operate across 41 states with access to just under 16 million potential bulk subs. Of those bulk subs, we've got a little over 2 million bulk. So still a huge opportunity for us to be out there visible and working through third-party relationships to gain access to those owners and to position our products and solutions, because, again, as Chris mentioned, the technology is evolving. There's a want and a need for a lot of these IoT solutions that owners are taking and putting in place for things like energy efficiency, visibility of their property and common areas, and control of the units between resident leases. So for us as a provider, very important to provide network capabilities and solutions that align with both that vision, while at the same time delivering the products and solutions at a resident level that we know that the consumers want today. So for us, right, it's what qualifies as an MDU. So we look at it in a couple different lights, right? Traditional apartments, obviously, are bread and butter. But you also think outside the box. You've got senior communities, so independent and assisted living facilities. You have student housing. Off campus primarily is where we focus. We've got an enterprise team that can solve for on-campus student housing. RV parks, marinas, and mobile home, another version of MDU, if you will. But we've got specific products and solutions that we can deliver in those types of environments that might differ from that traditional setup or that student setup. And last but not least, for us, one that's rapidly emerging: condos, HOAs, and SFUs. Think of your national single-family home owner operator who has assets sporadically located in zip codes across the country. It's nice for us as a provider now to be able to offer them a solution that can also help them capitalize and monetize some of the other technology that they're looking to implement to remain visible within those homes and to provide additional services to their residents, all of which leads to that, supplemental net operating income. So touched on it before, 41 states, 15 million doors, huge opportunity for us as a provider. I think, for us, it really becomes a point of, what are the benefits based on our technologies and solutions for the owner, but also what's in it for the resident? When we position this to the owners at each location, some owners have specific wants and needs, whether it's IoT, others are financially driven. Sometimes it's a blend of both. And obviously there's an operational piece to all of it that's important. So as a provider, we recognize that it's uber important to be able to not just provide those solutions and technologies, but to be able to support them on the other side for the residents and for the owner. And furthermore, again, to provide that connectivity for any third-party services that are attached to the network. So again, the owner, it's typically driving additional NOI, condo HOA, more about cost savings and driving down individual unit costs. But also by default, especially in a greenfield new build application, it's an opportunity where we can install a managed Wi-Fi, fiber-based managed Wi-Fi network that's going to contribute and lead towards increased property value as they bring that to life. And down the road, as Chris knows, many owners acquire and sell assets. So by adopting that technology and having it in place for future enhancement of those solutions, it does both add to the revenue and the value of that location. Ability to attach a mobile product to all of this, again, kind of in line with today's technology and offering. So that's a value add for both the owner and the resident. And then, we touched on it earlier, our ability to integrate with and attach to those property IoT devices. So we install in our managed Wi-Fi solution and architecture, call it a transport network with hidden SSIDs that would support those common area, those leak detection sensors, those energy efficiency systems that are going to be owner specific, but also have capability to support those in-unit devices, whether it's smart thermostats, Ring video doorbells, or anything in between. So again, as Spectrum and Community Solutions specifically, we're continually trying to meet with, our owners, our partners, to better understand how is the marketplace evolving for them and how we can continue to polish our products and solutions to align with their vision. Getting into it more specifically, we touched on it a little bit before when we talked about the different property types, right? So obviously an off-campus student housing property is going to have a much different vision for what they need to take and apply on a bulk or a wholesale basis. And that's what we're really focused on here. Creating relationships, signing a contract with the owner to provide service to 100% of those residential units in common areas. The other benefit we have as Spectrum is the ability to attach a video package and a streaming solution to that service. So, whether it's traditional set-top box, think senior, a lot of those properties have existing coax-based service and infrastructure. So very important for us to have a solution that works on what's already built. And by that same token, we can attach our advanced community Wi-Fi product, which has some managed Wi-Fi feel to it, if you will, a portal with visibility of the network for the owner, some other bells and whistles that give them access to individual units. Future forward, we're working to deliver a technology that would also support with multiple SSIDs, common area and transport networks by using and leveraging that in-unit device. Streaming video is, again, we all know the way the industry is headed. So we've got a Spectrum streaming TV application that we can implement at any property type, but especially think RV park, mobile home park, marina, where maybe there's not that type of existing infrastructure. So to deliver that IPTV type of product adds value for those property owners. Our managed Wi-Fi service, especially in greenfield applications, whether it's fiber to a closet, fiber to the unit, we do provide and install, whether it's on a turnkey basis to that owner or collaborating and sharing roles and responsibilities in a scope of work. We'll provide that fully managed solution. And we can do that with an overbuild at a brownfield location as well, if that's the owner's vision, all of which fully managed 24/7, 365 by a network operations center. We also have additional bulk support centers across the country that support all of our bulk properties, managed, non-managed, or anything in between. And then, I thought it'd be valuable, guys, just a case study, right? And the way we work with partners, just to highlight some of the ways that they can earn through the program specifically. We register a lead, we'll work through the partner to connect with the owner, understand what is their vision, right? Are they looking for managed Wi-Fi coverage? If so, how robust? What's the property setup? We'll work with our engineering team and our construction team at a local level, come up with a proposal and some good, strong earning potential. The example here is a 550 unit apartment complex in Austin. We worked to apply a managed Wi-Fi solution. Took us the better part of 90 days, start to finish with the partner, another 30 days or so to move through legal. But at the end of the day, we were able to secure that contract in large part because of the relationship we had, in this case through a Telarus agent. And A, we won the bid. B, we're able to remit payment and compensation to the partner within 60 days of that contract being executed. So I want to be mindful of time here, Chris. The last slide is just my contact information. My channel manager, Andrew, gets contact information. But again, excited to be talking to everybody today and to share a little bit more about the Spectrum products and solutions and how we envision that working in the MDU marketplace.
Fantastic. Under 10 minutes. So thanks, James. That was a great overview. Very interesting. So I hope I was paying attention to that. So let's go ahead and kick it off to Ready, right? I think I have Ready up next. Yeah, Ready Wireless.
We're up, and Mike Henderson is on with me. He's going to actually share his screen, trying to limit my bandwidth. I got froze up on the last one we did, Chris, so we're going to try to eliminate that today.
Thank you. Good call.
So, Mike, if you can get that screen up while he's doing that. Good morning or afternoon, everyone. I'm Fred Homister, co-founder, chief revenue officer for Ready Wireless. Mike Henderson's on the bridge as well and driving the deck. He is director of channel management. Skipping ahead here, Mike, if you want to go to the next one. We've been in business since 2005, have been focused on IoT solutions, particularly end-to-end managed services since 2017. What we do today all really centers around the platform that we built. Our framework allows us to collect outside data from different sensors that we would deploy against assets across any landscape, whether it's, in this case, a smart building type application. We have hero products that we built around agricultural solutions, manufacturing solutions. We've really cast a wide net in terms of what our capabilities are. The framework that we have built currently visualizes data from well over 1,400 different purpose-built sensors that are out there. Quite simply, when we look at IoT, it's just leveraging technology to help solve business problems. And when you really boil it down, what we're doing is leveraging devices to monitor the location and condition of a thing. We enable our partners, the channel partners, folks that are on this bridge, everybody involved in the Telarus ecosystem, to have conversations with customers and prospects about whatever pain points might be affecting their success. Hurdles that seem benign to you and me may be a big problem to someone else. As an example, if a gate is open on a farm in the back 40 and there's a risk of livestock getting out, that's a big issue. Water levels in a storm sewer at the corner of First and Main for somebody involved in a municipality might be a big issue. When it comes to facilities management and multi-dwelling units, a great use case or problem to call out would be leak detection. Being able to pick up on a problem before it becomes a bigger problem is exactly what we do. Where we fit in is that everything is visualized through one vendor, one procurement process, one login. We like to say one throat to choke. I know everybody's heard that before, but the decision-making process around solving these business problems can be a bit cumbersome, and we help streamline that. We bring different makers to the table to solve a problem. We leverage our channel partners, and we've built the entire organization around channel management to help push product out very quickly into the marketplace, and allows our customers a single pane of glass to solve problems. Kind of touched on this already, but we know that managing and owning properties can be way more complex than just collecting rent. And so managing those assets to ensure that tenants and renters are satisfied and that everything is being managed on a proactive basis provides a major value prop to these property owners that we currently work with. So some ideal solutions that we bring to the table, in terms of kind of hero use cases, water leaks I mentioned, and I have basic battery powered devices that are easily deployed on a private LoRaWAN network. We have access to both EveryNet and Senate networks that are nationally deployed LoRa networks, primarily in the NFL cities, if you will. But we have the ability to add edge network on campuses or in smart building solutions. If you want to go back, Mike, you skipped ahead there, but on the ideal solution, there are a lot of use cases that tend to bubble up and are most important to partners that we work with. Water leaks, noise level monitoring. We could touch on that in a minute, but in the short-term rental market. Natural gas leaks. We have municipalities throughout the United States that have passed legislation that requires not just carbon monoxide monitoring, but natural gas leak monitoring. They say that smoke detectors identify a problem that's already in process, and being able to monitor natural gas leaks before they become a problem, that's crucial, especially in these multi-dwelling units. We can expand what we do on a property. If there's, for example, a pool, recreational pool facility, being able to keep immediate and 24/7 eyes on chlorine levels or pH levels of the pool, anything that avoids the need of somebody having to walk around with a clipboard, we can generally apply low cost, easy technology to help solve that problem. Anything that we do, I have a note there at the bottom, starts with understanding what the cost of that problem is and building the solution that'll show a quick return on investment. Mike, I know that you have, if you can come off mute, I know that you have some intimate knowledge with the heater and boiler solutions that we've deployed with a few large property management companies, especially in Minneapolis. You want to touch on that?
Hey everyone. Hey everyone, Mike Henderson. We recently engaged with a property ownership and management company in Minneapolis who they own like 37 apartment buildings, and they're required to send someone around to check the boiler temperature and pressure every 8 hours. And they have like licensed boiler technicians who drive around the city of Minneapolis and record these numbers on legal pads in basements. And they're paying these guys, who are mostly younger folks who have families and wanted to give them their weekends back. So we were able to put sensors on each of the boilers that then spoke through a gateway, that then the gateway can add any of these other sensors on a la carte. And they're talking about adding on paid like vacation services to monitor your doors and leaks and windows and stuff like that when you go out of town. So they can like charge you $20, to monitor. But anyway, they put all of these boiler monitors on, and now they have 2 to 3 full-time employees that they don't have to send around on the weekends through Minneapolis traffic, paying a pretty penny, but also giving them their weekends back. So we then are expanding this out to an assisted living community in Washington, because there's actually some legislation going through where they need to monitor the same thing, the temperature and the pressure for their water heaters at these assisted living facilities, primarily older folks, I think, in this application. But the application for assisted living is and anyone in halfway houses as well. And there's any age or different type of assisted living that might need to be recorded by law. So it's been an interesting use case that seems to have application in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Mike. So we've got 10 minutes here, and obviously the use cases or the applications are almost endless. And what I've learned after participating in a number of academies and the recent Ascend program that we had in Chicago is that, you know, when you folks, when the Telarus agents are introduced to IoT, that just starting the conversation and identifying an opportunity can be, I don't know if intimidating is the right word, but, you know, kind of where do I start? This is often, you know, IoT solutions and leveraging this technology is a little bit outside of the normal swim lane. And Ready has built our entire business development unit around serving the channel. So we don't expect any of our partners or any of the agents to become experts in any of these particular fields, but we want to arm everybody with enough information to be able to start a conversation and identify opportunities that might be out there. We know it's new for many of you. So part of what we do to help you expand the conversations with the folks that you have in your Rolodex is we create the battle cards, including, you know, the solutions overview, competitive landscapes, prospect profiles, you know, discovery questions. This is a, you know, a slide that gives you some ideas of questions that you could ask folks that participate in some sort of facilities or property management. These discovery questions are just enough to start a conversation and identify whether or not there's an interest there or something that we might be able to throw some technology at to help solve a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry?
1 minute. 1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah, we're wrapping up anyway. So that's where we fit into the into our part of the play. You know, I wanted to mention that we have a lot of traction happening in short-term rentals. I mentioned municipality legislation, noise ordinance, and the ability to rent a property is a big issue, especially in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. We have decibel meters that can be placed in common areas or in the outside common area of a property. Apparently, if authorities are called 3 times in a year, the property owner has to take that particular unit off the market for up to 12 months. We know that if you look at different solutions and solving them individually, it becomes very fragmented. You know, I, as an example, here at my house have a Nest, I have my Ring, I have my Google Home. Having the ability to bring all of these into a single point of contact and help organizations operate more efficiently, leverage data-driven decisions, and in the end, do more with less, kind of like what Michael was talking about in Minneapolis, eliminating some of those clipboard jobs that are out there can really prove beneficial, and we can show immediate return on investment.
Fantastic. Great infographics. Thanks. Ready. Good show there. By the way, there will be a follow-up email where you will get links and information to follow up with all these suppliers. So in the interest of time, we'll kick it over and bring on Fortify.
Hey, Chris, good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Chris, thank you, and Telarus for pulling this together for us. Fortify, most of you know Fortify as a wireless aggregator doing 4G and 5G internet access for primary connectivity and for failover. But I don't know, about a year ago, we developed a product called Physical Security as a Service. And I think it's a really good fit, and we're finding a lot of traction in the MDU space, along with, homeowner associations and so forth. We're really the only company that went out to Verkada and has built a bundled product using Verkada cameras, access control, alarm solutions with 24/7 monitoring, guest management, even intercom solutions. And so I'm going to turn this over to Chris Meyer, my engineer, and he's going to go through a deck and explain to you guys exactly what it is we do. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Yeah, as Rick has introduced us to, FISAS is our offering, and we're based it on Verkada. It's really a fully managed cloud-based building security suite with proactive alerting and monitoring. When we drill in here, you'll see that Verkada encompasses much more than just traditional cameras. Video security, access control, air quality sensors, alarms, and guest management are all available under a single pane of glass for a low monthly cost. one of the main differentiators of Verkada is really just the usability, the scalability, and the fact that it was designed from the ground up to really quickly detect and respond to threats. Everybody has, horror stories about sitting down at an old DVR and spending 4 hours trying to find video and then never even end up finding it and losing an incident. With Verkada, it's vastly simplified. So there's no NVRs, there's no DVRs required. This is helpful from a deployment perspective because really all it's needed to get a camera up and running is a single Ethernet cable, PoE. No expensive DVR, NVR licensing or server infrastructure needs to be set up. You can very easily add to the system and scale as needed, and even roll back certain areas if cameras are no longer required and redeploy on a case-by-case basis. Verkada offers unlimited storage for archived clips. So this bandwidth metric you see here, sorry about that. The way Verkada works is it basically is going to upload encrypted thumbnails and only consume 20 to 50 kilobits per second of bandwidth because the storage for the footage is actually contained within the camera on solid state memory. So this is really helpful in terms of not over consuming bandwidth, but also in the event that you do lose your uplink or you have an issue with your connection, the cameras will continue to record and they can re-upload that footage or upload that footage after their connection is reestablished. Because there's no NVRs or DVRs, you don't have to get into any complicated network configurations such as port forwarding or firewall rules or VPNs and things of that nature. Number of form factors are offered depending on the use case. We can deploy dome cameras, bullet cameras, fisheye cameras, or even multi-sensor cameras, which offer four cameras within a single unit, reducing the amount of cable infrastructure that's required and capturing multiple angles from a single spot. Access control, so we can fully take over an existing legacy access control system and basically bring all of that existing lock infrastructure and wiring infrastructure into one of Verkada's access controllers and basically bring it onto the cloud. The real power of this is that you can correlate events, and this is true not just for access control, but once we get into some of the other sensor types and offerings as well. Verkada Command is the portal where you're able to essentially correlate events. So if you have a door forced open event or somebody's access card gets rejected at the door, you'll automatically have video associated with that. So there's doesn't take a long time to have to go back and try to find the video in a separate system that's related to that specific incident. Number of different options with door controllers, depending. We can roll out a 4-door controller all the way up to a 16-door controller. IO controllers are available for elevator controls or any traditional wired inputs that you need to capture, such as door position switches or traditional wired panic buttons. Outputs such as sirens or buzzers, things of that nature can be accommodated. And we can also accommodate to pretty much any type of existing lock or new lock deployment that's needed, from magnetic locks to traditional strikes on a case-by-case basis. One key thing with Verkada's card readers is that you can certainly deploy traditional credentials such as fobs or access cards, but they are also Bluetooth enabled. So you can use Bluetooth on your phone via the Verkada Pass app and configure it so that if an individual or a resident has access to that door, they won't even have to take their phone out of their pocket as they're approaching the door. If they have access permissions, that door will unlock seamlessly. That's true for a single entry door. That can be deployed for vehicles as they're leaving a garage to actuate gates. Sensors. So all Verkada's all-in-one sensors encompass a number of metrics: motion, temperature and humidity, volatile organic compounds, noise level, particulate matter index, vape index. These are all helpful metrics. But again, one of the key things is the ability to correlate with video. So one of the use cases we often see are school bathrooms where you obviously can't deploy cameras, but you can certainly deploy a vape sensor within that bathroom and then have a camera outside that will be triggered by that detector and then capture the individual that way. Alarm monitoring. So Verkada has taken a little bit of a different approach to alarm monitoring. We can certainly deploy traditional sensors, wired or wireless, such as motion, glass break, door contacts, water leak, panic buttons. However, the analytics and the motion detection has gotten so good on the cameras and so reliable that really all you need to do to spin up a fully monitored alarm site is have nothing more than a single camera. Again, you can leverage those existing wired sensors if desired through the panel, through a wired panel or a wireless hub, but you can use the cameras themselves as initiating devices. So Verkada maintains 3 geographically dispersed 24/7 monitoring central stations where you can configure after hours times or alerts and arm and disarm schedules. And essentially, if an event happens, not only will they receive the alert, but they will be able to actually look at the footage and make sure that any false alarms or nuisance alarms are ruled out and then escalate as needed, whether it be within your own organization call tree or directly to 911 if configured as such. Cellular backups obviously available for this, just as a added measure of reliability. And again, same thing with the alarms, everything integrates together through Verkada Command. Rick, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I appreciate it. So I want to touch a little bit on the process, how we like to go about working on these opportunities with our partners, because I think that's important, right, for the partners to understand how we actually deploy this. So we like to build out a discovery call with the partner, identify the opportunity, get a little bit of background on what the customer's looking for, and then we'll engage our engineers team. We'll schedule a demo call with the customer, walk through all of the products in the Verkada Command, as Chris mentioned. And then what we do is we'll send a technician out on site to do a site survey, walk the property with the customer, identify all the locations that the customer wants cameras placed, access control. Some locations want to have, access control put on a gate. They want to put it on certain doors. And then we'll bring all that data back in-house, and our engineering team, along with the partner, will put together a statement of work and a proposal to the customer. Once we have that proposal put together, we'll reach out, schedule a call with the customer, walk through the statement of work and the proposal. At that time, if the customer says, yeah, I want to move forward with this looks great, we reach out to Verkada and we procure all that equipment. And then we amortize that equipment over a 36-month period to the customer, interest-free. And then, so then we build out the back end. We get the, typically we try to use the same technician to go back out and do the installation of the cameras and access control. And then we work with them on the back end, building out Verkada Command, setting up their alerts as they want them to be set up. And then we just invoice them a monthly recurring charge for 36 months. And the partner receives, their commission on that. At the end of 36 months, those cameras drop off and the customer continues to pay for the licensing on the devices, and the partner maintains commissionable status on that as well. So theoretically, the customer could get paid out on this, or the partner rather, through as long as they pay for their license, right? And Chris, I forget if you mentioned that each one of these cameras have a 10-year warranty on them. But in most cases, if a customer moves forward with a SaaS product with us, the camera can be replaced if it fails within 10 years. And part of our management service will be that we'll deploy a truck out to do the on-site install at no charge to the customer.
Very good. Very good.
So Chris, I appreciate the time, and I think that kind of wraps us up.
Yeah, great stuff, man. We've covered everything from connectivity, internet, video, all IoT sensors, cameras, physical security. But we're not done. Let's hear what Joel and the Modas team have to share. Take it away. We're seeing Word doc and your you got the you can switch at the very top of the preview. You can switch monitors or switch displays.
I'll just do this. There we go.
Which says display settings.
There we go.
That works too.
All right. Let me switch it. Sorry about that, everybody.
No worries. It happens. It's got to happen at least one presenter.
You share the other screen there. There we go. Okay. How about now?
Yep. Good to go.
All right. Good. All right. Good morning, everybody. So great to see everyone. My name is Joel Urano. I'm CEO of Modas Solutions. We're based out of Dallas, Texas, and we are really excited to bring green energy solutions to the channel. So we're talking EV charging, we're talking programmatic advertising, digital signage, and then the last thing I'll touch on is just our new solar solution. So so there are a couple different types of chargers. You've got level 2 chargers in the EV space, which are interesting because, that's very important, right? I mean, EV chargers, you look at, it's something that might be, how long is the customer staying in the parking lot? So a level 2 charger could be a hotel, would be an apartment, an MDU. Like the level 3 chargers, which is here at the bottom, the level 3 chargers are, are something you might put in a restaurant parking lot, right? Something where a fast turnaround could be like at a gas station, but quite a big difference in cost. The level 2 chargers are equipment rise are $2,000 to $3,000 a piece on the top here. And then on the bottom, that unit you see on the screen, that unit runs with the necessary equipment. We're pushing $160,000. So, quite a big difference, but, quite also a big, different level of service. So benefits of network chargers. So a network charger would be one that's controlled by the network. You can control the pricing. You can see all sorts of, kind of usage on these chargers. And, so certainly one of the benefits would be, real-time visibility of how many people are using your charger, what kind of revenue that the customer is generating. The really exciting thing about the EV charging and the next couple of things I'm going to talk about is that on EV chargers, these are actually revenue generators, right? I mean, you go plug in to charge your electric vehicle and your customer is going to make money on this. This is not a, they buy it and it makes it more efficient, or it makes, there are lots of reasons, more customer draw, those kinds of things. But with the EV chargers, they actually generate revenue for the customer and bring them in to the business. So, right, if you say you've got somebody's driving an electric car and I need to stop to get a charge. They look on, the different types of apps like PlugShare and some of the others, maybe Google Maps, and find out where these chargers are at, just like you would as a gas driver, gas station, right? And they can bring vehicles that might not have otherwise come to your business. So we were actually looking at one this morning. It's a barbecue place along I-44 in Missouri near Branson, and she said, if I put this here, we can actually probably get customers off the interstate coming and stop and have some food with us. So she was excited about that. So again, real-time health, we can see what's going on, meter and monitor the charges, as they go, as the customers buy them. So you can, change pricing on the fly if needed. So benefits to charging networks: you can monetize your parking lot, attract new customers, future-proof the growth. So, like, what is your property? You don't want to be Blockbuster, right? You want to be Netflix. Increase profits over time. So, as everybody knows, electric vehicles have been in the news quite a bit, and analysts like Pricewaterhouse, E&Y are saying, the year-over-year growth for electric vehicles through 2030 is supposed to be 29% year over year, which is astounding. Tax benefits. Customers get federal tax credits, right? Not write-offs, but they actually get a credit to their income tax bill of up to 30%. Plus, they can accelerate the depreciation. There could be rebates and other incentives that are, at the zip code level. So we have to do a little bit of research. Doesn't take terribly long on the rebates, but we have to have some information on the customer in order to get that information back to you. Some businesses want this from a sustainability standpoint. So, right, they want to say they've got, carbon neutral, maybe carbon negative in some cases for EV chargers, right? If they've got a big sustainability initiative, this is certainly one of the ways to go get to it. And so it says flexible payment options. So we can take advantage of a zero down, right, or potentially low out of pocket expense, depending on what the customer might want. But we actually have two options for customers. Oh, sorry about that. I'm gonna skip ahead here and I'll come back to the sign in just a second. So on the charging and digital signage, we've got two models, so the customer can buy it themselves, right? And they get to realize the value of the increased value of the property. For any of you that are familiar with property valuation and cap rates, making this investment in your property can significantly increase the value. So in a case of an EV charger with property value or a cap rate of 5%, that's generating $20,000 a year, you just increase the value of your property by $1 million. $1 million, right? That's a huge value add to the customer, right? And all it was is installing these chargers. Forget about the revenue they can make. It's just installing the chargers on the property. Customer amenity, opportunity for advertising. I'll come right back to that in just a sec. Reducing your carbon footprint. They can be expensive. Maybe it's not your core business. And the core business is I'll touch on that in just a second, the owner operator model. You want to make sure that you got the drivers coming into the parking lot, right, to use your signage. So, right. So there are some definite benefits to buying, right? From a tax incentive, from a value of the property, from owning, but we see most customers saying, I own this restaurant and I really don't want to be in the vehicle fueling business, the vehicle charging business. So, we heard that a lot, and we found a partner company called Compass that will do this owner operator model. Well, they will come in, as you as the Telarus partners find these opportunities, and they say, you know what, the customer doesn't want to buy. They want somebody else to come make the investment on the charging. Then Compass will come, we'll engage Compass, and they will do an assessment on the property, look at the kind of business, look at the electricity rates are. There's, it's almost an application process. But if Compass approves it, Compass will pay for the whole thing, and you still get comped on it as if the customer paid for it. So, the benefit here, there is truly nothing out of pocket to your customer. In fact, Compass does a 10% revenue share back to the customer on whatever the electricity revenue is, on the net revenue. So here's a potentially a couple $100,000 investment that Compass may make into your customer's property. And, again, like Compass is the one spending the money here. So just keep that in mind, right? They will, they could push back on, some of the asks, but again, it's a benefit to the customer. It's a benefit to the customer to have those EV chargers. If Compass does the deal, right, on top of the commission on the hardware, which is at what is that? I don't know off the top of my head. I'll have to get back to the commission schedule, get that to you. But Compass does also pay a 2% residual commission on the electricity revenue for the life of the project. And these are 10-year deals. So, they could get pretty hefty. I know 2% doesn't sound like much, but it's 10 years of commission, which is very exciting. You get paid for 10 years on something, why would you do it, right? And that's just the initial contract. There's extensions after that. So I'm going to back up quickly to the digital signage. And so, went too far. There we go. So you can see I've got this image here of a chase screen in the window. So, again, this is another one where the customer can purchase the signage. They can, opt in for all of their own content, or they can have us bring the programmatic advertiser to the table. And in this case, you see Chase is advertising on the screen, and Chase will actually pay, right? Your customer will actually get money for having these advertising screens in the window. So, they operate in 8 slots, right? So it's a loop, a 2-minute loop of 8 different images, and your customer gets to use 3 of them for their own stuff, right? But advertisers that are already contracted, signed, currently advertising today, we've got Chase, as you see on the screen, Discover Card, BMW, Supercuts, Michelob Ultra, Facebook, Meta, American Airlines. I mean, there's almost 2,000 at this point national brands that are paying for advertising in this space. And for those of you not familiar, because I get this is a little bit new to the technology channel, but for those of you not familiar in the advertising world, digital out of home, which is what these screens are, these are the next banner ads that you would have seen on the internet, right? You go into some small town, where are you going to put advertising? You could put these on a screen, right? Hang it in the grocery store window, right? But you're not going to put a $300,000 billboard in a screen. You may put a, right? And then, because it's just a small town newspaper, they may only publish once a week. So this actually creates advertising opportunities for those businesses, and any advertising that ends up on the screens, right, just goes to feed the revenue that comes back to you as a sales partner.
1 minute, Joel.
Yep. Okay, I'll go quickly. Thanks, Chris. Top markets. Again, I will share this presentation for you guys to take a look at. Top 50 markets in the U.S. for advertising. Last thing, solar. So this is a project that our VP of Service Delivery did. This is a car dealership, and you can see all the solar panels he put in. This car dealership is completely off the grid for daytime use. So they don't use any electricity during the day. It all comes from their solar panels. So federal tax benefits. Imagine what that did to their electric bill. I mean, their electric bill was running $50,000 a month, and now they're down, like in the $12,000 to $15,000 range. Huge savings every month. There's some tax benefits here. Hotspots for solar. Sorry, I'm trying to get this through quickly. And then I've got some contact information for Casey. So I want to kind of leave it there and see if there's anything else, Casey, you want to jump in, or you got anything? Is that it?
Yeah, in the interest of time, let's move on. I appreciate that. I will have Casey's information in the follow-up email. Very interesting offerings there. Thank you so much. And we're going to kick it over to Brian at Datavalet.
Great, bad and cleanup. Thanks, Chris, for organizing this session. Fantastic. Other presenters, really interesting stuff so far. So I'll take the last 10 minutes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Datavalet and our focus on MDU with our Maestro solution, and answer any questions that you might have. Hopefully you can see that okay.
Here we go. Yep, gotcha.
Perfect. So let me introduce myself. So I have been with Datavalet for the last 3+ years, and I run the channel development for us. Datavalet is a company that many of you may not have heard of as a Telarus partner. Been in business now for 25 years. It's our 26th year of specializing really with a focus on the expert design, deployment, and management of Wi-Fi environments, and now more and more focus on MDU. When I talk about MDU, I'm going to expand that, similar to one of the other presenters who was saying that we have a real focus on not only kind of the condo and residential market, but also university campuses, long-term care, senior living, and so on, which all is part of this same solution that we have. Datavalet as a company, just very, very briefly, we are an organization which sells through partner communities, through agent communities such as Telarus, and we do this all across North America. So we've got clients from end to end, from Alaska to Florida to California, all through Canada, and so on. We've got an ecosystem of partners that do the deployment, do the break fix, and so on. What we try to do is a real end-to-end solution. Many of the things we've talked about today, what we would provide is it being a systems integrator, we would kind of potentially pull the whole deal together and provide a 7/24, 365 help desk opportunity for these people, whether it be for their Wi-Fi or it could be to transfer calls over to an IoT provider and so on as part of our solution. So again, we've been providing Wi-Fi solutions to the market for 20+ years. Over the past 2 or 3 years, we've put a real focus on MDU. We've come out with a very specific offering which we call Maestro, which is all about the resident experience. So what we try to do on this is provide a very simple solution. And it's really what we're finding in the market. This is what the residents are looking for, is kind of a next generation of Wi-Fi to be provided very simply to them via a portal and so on, be able to kind of wind up, wind down the amount of internet they need and so on as they add devices. Again, this is kind of who we are on a day-to-day basis. We've got probably 300 clients that we manage on a day two, what we would call a day two service. So we, it's really an outsourced service where we would do the design, the deployment, the ongoing monitoring and management through our technical support, and any on-site break fix work that needs to be done. The organization that we have, which is based in Montreal, Canada, with an office in Toronto, Canada, and Charlotte, North Carolina, is really a technical organization for the most part, built to support the partner community, such as the folks on the call here, to bring this type of a solution to market. Just talking to you a bit about Maestro. So Maestro is really, the idea is for, it's a sophisticated software-based solution, really, which brings an internet and ISP into a building or a location or a campus, and be able to divide that into micro segments, very secure, private internet, like an at-home experience for any resident or a student, those sort of things, long-term care and so on, without the need for that person to have to go out and get a modem and plug it in and worry about the wiring and cabling and so on. This is all in place, so that via portal, person checks in, they simply say, yeah, I want to get Wi-Fi, this is how much I want, and so on. These develop a personal area network for this person. So inside their home, if they want to have 5 devices or 10 devices, they hook that up, similar to what all of us experience as an at-home experience. This personal area network follows them around the property. So if they go into the hallways, into the gym, and outside to the pool area, their secure, private personal area network follows them around through that environment. It has a whole lot of other facilities to it. It's a pretty complete and full function piece of software, which has advantage not only for the resident, but gives the property management a lot of analytics and reporting and so on. This just shows that it has some email capabilities without it to know how many residents are on property, send them all a group message and so on. Here's the example of when they go to the pool or to the gym, still connected. And in summary, so what is this and how does it differentiate? So this is a solution which we deliver, manage out of our network operations center, which we've developed over the past 25 years, and has the ability to develop these personal area networks, has the ability for a resident or a student or a senior to go onto a website, sign up for a certain amount of internet. They can upgrade that internet. The internet may be free as part of a rent or a license that they're paying with the rent. They may have a premium version, which we design. All of the billing is handled by Datavalet. So we take the credit card information, and that can revert back to the property manager or property owner as well. So what we've tried to develop is a very complete and full function. And that is it in 10 minutes. Back to you, Chris.
Wow, that was a great job. Less than 10 minutes by my count, but thank you. Yeah, very pointed. I'd say leave people wanting for more. So on that note, we can kind of land the plane here a little bit. I want to share one more slide with you and see if we have time, if anyone wants to have a conversation. Let me check chat. I don't think we saw any questions. Chris Merrill, what did you think? Anything new jump out at you? Have you heard of most of these solutions? Chris Merrill, you still with us? I see you on there. I don't know if you're.
Yeah, I'm here. I just had to cut my mute off.
Okay.
That was really, really interesting stuff to hear. It's be great to take back some of the stuff. I'm reaching out to some of the guys that made presentations already on the call. I think I've got some good synergies from this, and some other companies I can connect people with that are doing really good work. So it's good
Very
to
good.
hear what's going on in the marketplace. This is a good call for a lot of people. But we probably need to be doing a little bit more of these, certainly from representing the end user customers, the board presidents, the owners, and just to give you an idea, we also represent 1,500 mobile home parks across the United States. And there's some stuff in here for these people that are upgrading these parks. There are a lot of parks out there that aren't the traditional mobile homes sitting on the side of the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's some really nice parks out there too. So good stuff, Chris.
Absolutely.
Really good call.
Excellent. Well, last call for any other questions. If you want to come off mute and ask a question for me or one of the presenters, it's a good time to do it. Give you a last call here. Again, this will be it's been recorded, and I'll send this out. Love for you to share with your colleagues, and of course all the contact info for the presenters will be in the follow-up email. I think we had the schedule for an hour originally, and then we extended it a little bit. So I think we're good on time. If there are no questions, we can go ahead and wrap up. And if you see the QR code on the screen, if you want to scan that, that's where you can follow my podcast and YouTube channel, where I put a lot of information, as well as just a way to schedule a follow-up call if you want more information on suppliers, or if you need additional resources. Jason Kaufman on our sales engineer team is very, very well versed in a lot of this and can help as well. So any last words? Anybody want to anything? I don't want to cut anybody off in closing early, but anything else? Questions, statements? All right. Going once, going twice. Sold. Thanks everybody for joining this episode of Vertical Pacific, focused on MDUs. More to come, and I'll have a list and some links for upcoming vertical specific webinars in the follow-up email. Thank you very much. Have a great remainder of your day.